Smoke Tiger, friends. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for another Orc Mode workout, and today was max effort lower day, but a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please click like down below, help me keep the likes higher than the dislikes. Today was tough. I knew this bar was going to be hard, by the way, because we see how big of a difference there is between my box squats with it, right? Well past 100 pounds. So, you know, when I do a good morning, it's no surprise that there's over 100 pounds difference there. I can only get to 421 doing a good morning with this bar. It was tough, and my whole upper back pretty much gave out my T-spine. Because it's a completely different movement than the cambered bar. With the cambered bar, I can really push my hips back. I can get enormous amounts of posterior chain involvement, right? With the cambered bar, there's a lot of glute, a lot of hamstring. This uses all that, but it's just so much more upper back, extremely upper back dominant. Okay, and all I had was the 421. It hit those safety straps, and I didn't think I was going to get it back off of them, but I did. So we're going to count it. But this was difficult. Today's workout was hard. Like I pretty much got buried because of hitting some of my weak points. Hitting my weakest points for heavy weight really hammered me today. And I couldn't even finish some of my supplemental lifts. What I was going to do was just going to be 3x3 on a squat, deadlift, and good morning, and then do some sets of 20 on the reverse hyper, and we'll discuss what's going on with that later. I'm getting so proficient with the reverse hyper, even trying to control the bottom. I started messing with restoration work, and I found I could rep out 500 with it. So I did that today. I'm just going to leave 500 loaded on it through the weekend, so I can do it on the weekend. But this was tough. This was tough. And yeah, I went over, decided to do some deadlifts against chains. And people are asking me how do I like this bar. This bar is hard on my hands. Okay, this bar is hard on my hands. Now, granted, I'm doing a lot of grip training, so my grip feels way more secure with it now. But I don't know how much of that is obviously the better bar, being a deadlift bar, or if my grip's improving, or it's a combination, but it is rough on my skin. And we ended up doing 565 plus 57 chains. There's not really much chain on the ground when I'm doing these. We're pretty much getting all but like the last link. So we're probably getting 55 of that 57 pounds. So we're back up to at least the top end doing 620. But again, what's going on with deadlifts? Some people are like, well, why is your deadlift not as strong as it was a little while back? It's mostly my back. All right, I've gotten really strong at posterior chain stuff in general. Upper back, middle back, it's all lagging a bit, right? My lats, I felt my lats on all these deadlifts lately, all the conventional pulls. That's one reason I've started doing chins again. That's one reason I'm done with any sort of grip work, like messing with axle bar stuff and inverted rows with axle bars, all that. It left my lats a bit weaker. I'm at a strong enough deadlift that I can't afford my lats to get weaker. So we're going to have to keep them really strong and focus on bringing my lats up, my grip, all that. But we know we need the upper back. A little grindy there at my sticking point, but I pulled through it. And that's the interesting thing. Once I get through that sticking point, I was really strong at the top. Right? We know that's my sticking point on the rep work. So my upper back and everything was shot from all of that. And so I went ahead and did these. And I think what I'm going to do this end of the week, I'm going to work with a safety bar. And I'll probably work with the cambered bar on the other day. Because I don't want my strong points to regress. And I want to put a whole day into more of the weak point stuff. Things that I really suck at, which is going to be all the safety box stuff, the sumo deadlift stuff. But I can alternate maxing on different variations. You know, I'm not worried about keeping the sumo and the conventional the same. Although a lot of times if I'm going to use the cambered bar, I kind of want to just leave it in the rack because I might have to do several exercises in there, and that cambered bar is really a hassle to take in and out. So it might be days to where if I'm going to max on a cambered bar squat, I'll go ahead and do cambered bar boxes and cambered bar good mornings that same day for all my assistance work. Just for flow of the training, because taking that bar in and out, it weighs 85 pounds and it is a pain to put up and down. With a 3x3 with these, this crushed my upper back and quads to the point where I almost couldn't sumo deadlift. And that's the other thing. People can think that a lot of this is lower volume training, but keep in mind the number of exercises I do for the upper. Keeping in mind, I do a ton of GPP. This is just about maximizing tension, using these really hard exercises, extremely high quality reps in terms of the tonnage being used or the weight being used, mechanical tension relative to my maxes. So everything's an effective rep. Okay, everything's an effective rep. Even if we're doing 3x3s on these things, these are 9 effective reps. And we're doing more than one exercise. So if I try to do a squat deadlift in a good morning after my 2 maxes, keeping in mind the max ramp ups are effective reps, we end up with a pretty heavy amount of volume. And I think that's the way I want to go. I feel like as I get really good at the glute ham raise really, really easy, I don't feel like it carries over to anything. And I hate to have to say that because I love it. I think it's a phenomenal hamstring exercise. My hamstrings seem to be growing off everything I do. Okay. I need more hip, more quad. I mean, glute, all that. I mean, but all this other stuff works the hamstrings too. Especially when I do the good mornings also. And same thing, a reverse hyper, which I'm using every day, actually does hit my hamstrings. I mean, I don't use it every day. I do it 5 days a week. I don't do it on my lower body days. But, you know, if I just leave it loaded up with 500 pounds, I can come rep that out on my off days too, my GPP days. So, sumo deadlift, because I didn't really do any ramping up. I came over and did one single with the weight I had on there, which was 3 something. I went straight to my 480, which is my percentage for these that I need to be doing. And I almost couldn't pull it off the floor the first rep. I had to dig in, get aggressive. But the thing is, my quads and my upper back are destroyed from those safety bar squats. See right there, it's like, okay, I had to get myself in position, pull myself in, and it's just the case of I have a lot of fatigue at this point. These are hard. I had to dig in. And fight these. And I don't have the best sumo form anyways. I'm not built to sumo as well as I am conventional. But we know we need to work it, just like we need to do the safety bar work. Okay? Come in and train really heavy and hard on the stuff that you're not built for also. We need to train all of it. I need to get strong at all of it. And it's going to be hard work. And a lot of it's just going to be having to brute strength my way through it because I don't have the good leverages for sumo pulling. I don't have the best, my hip mobility for it. Like I'm starting to find now, even when I go with some of the box work, I'm just as strong with a slightly narrower stance than the ultra wide, if not stronger. It's just my hip structure. But I'm actually really, really good at Olympic squats. I don't like to do them. I don't think they're the best for strength. But I actually tend to be very strong at them. I mean, I Olympic squat over 500. So perspective. So kind of with the sumo, I'm just not that good with a wide stance. So it doesn't give me the best leverages here. So I'm doing the narrower. It looks a lot closer to my squat stancing. And I've just got to work the angles. And I mean, maybe over time I can work on getting strong, getting those feet further out and everything. We may work with it. But I'm going to have to just build being able to pull sumo at all decently. And that's going to be doing stuff like this. And yes, I'm fatigued. I've done all the other exercises first. You know, but we get in and just do it. Got to get in and just do it. It wasn't fun. I didn't like it. And then again, I was really tired from the other lifts, but we've got to come in and get the work done. And so some of these sessions they're going to be a little shorter on some of the lower body days because I'm doing such low reps. Instead of all these sets of 10 and 20, I get done with it quicker in terms of camera time. The workouts take just as long because believe me, doing triples, you need just as big of breaks as 10s or 20s. These, when I went over and ran my numbers, I'm like, oh, let me see, I probably felt like a little weak on this, so I didn't quite run the percentage I wanted. I dropped it a hair. My God, the first 3 rep set was really hard. This felt like an all-out 3 rep max, so I'm actually glad I didn't even try to go heavier. I think I went about 10 pounds less than my percentages called for. It was everything I had. And then I went to do another set, and I couldn't drive it off the safeties. It hit the safeties. I'm like, that's it, I'm done. And my whole upper back was just shot. But it makes sense. We hit a max on this. It's going to be my weakest lift because my upper back is my weak link on my squatting and stuff. Okay. So doing the safety bar squats with this bar. Then the sumo pulls, which again left my hips and quads and everything just crushed. And so did the other squats. So by the time I got to this, my upper back was done. So I've hit all my weakest points. All my weakest links got hammered with heavy work. And we still train them with other stuff. I mean, again, the whole weekend's going to be, sled work, weighted carries, farmer's walks, which again works some of this stuff again. The reverse hyper, I've started figuring out I'm pretty good at this point. And I'm controlling it the best that I can at the bottom, because people will point out sometimes, well, there's swing, but there's no way to take the swing out. Okay, if you go load a plate or two on here and just and get it started and let it go, it's going to swing. Like there's no way to stop it. So if you guys notice when I'm done, it still swings. It'll swing for several minutes if you just leave it. There's going to be some back and forth. You're not going to be able to fully stop it at the bottom. So I'm trying to slow it down on the bottom so that I'm controlling and not letting it swing as far forward as it can. It can swing a lot further than that. If I were to just let it go, it would swing at least a foot further. So I'm trying my best to just kind of control the bottom. And I'm doing it at the angles that I see like guys like Clint Darden talking about doing. And he had some good stuff on that, on numbers that he thinks people should be able to hit. And I mean, I'm pretty well there on those numbers. Even using his method, I'm pretty well there. I'm pretty well there in terms of the weight I need to have on here for the reps I'm capable of doing. But, they work. It hurts. Everything's lit up. My low back, hamstrings, glutes, hips, they're all hit from doing this with this weight. So I know that it's working. It's hitting what I need it to hit. So again, happy with it. And I'll just do this. I'll leave the 500 on there and just work at the 500 for a while, even on my off days, so that we're getting some extra volume in for these other muscles in the posterior chain, because everything else is heavy. So people are like, are you doing that for upper? Well, yeah, mainly just like rear delts and things. I do really high rep rear delt band pull aparts and stuff. But the rest of the upper body's getting hit with a lot of volume with all the heavy work. So this is just, again, making sure everything's working and sticking with pretty much just squats, deadlifts, good morning variations, just variations of those three, and then doing the reverse hypers plus all my GPP. I think we'll see my lower body lifts keep climbing. But again, my upper back is more of a limit right now than even my lower body is at this point. But overall, happy with the workout. I'm extremely tired though. This was a tough one. So I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.